There's a moment near the end of this story where a boy gets everything he ever wanted ripped away in a single breath. Not his life. Something worse. The one thing he had built his entire existence around. And he just stands there in the snow, screaming, with nothing left inside him at all. This is the story of how he got there. It's a story about a father and a son and the long cold road that revenge carves through a human heart. It's set 1,000 years ago, in a world of Vikings and long ships and frozen sea. But the question underneath it is older than any of that. What does hate actually give you? And what does it quietly take while you're not looking? His name is Thorfinn. And before he was a warrior, before he was a weapon, before his eyes went dead, he was just a small boy in Iceland who loved his father more than anything in the world. Let's start there. Because you can't feel how far he falls if you don't first see how high and warm the beginning was. Iceland, at the edge of everything. A village at the bottom of the map, where the winters are endless and the people are hard, and the sea is the only road in or out. This is where Thorfinn grows up. A restless kid with too much fire in him and nowhere to put it. A huge, gentle man with a wife, a daughter, and a son who works the land and keeps his head down. But Thors has a past he never says out loud. Years ago, he was one of the most feared warriors alive. A Jomsviking, a soldier in a brotherhood of professional killers. They called him the Troll of Jom, and the name alone made grown men go pale. And one day, in the middle of a war, he simply walked away. He faked his own death and vanished to the literal end of the known world, to raise a family in peace. Why would the strongest man anyone had ever seen do something like that? Because Thors learned something on the battlefield that broke him open and then put him back together wrong. He learned exactly what it costs to take a human life. He saw what endless killing does to a man's soul, how it hollows you out one body at a time. And he decided he was finished with all of it, no matter what it cost him. So when little Thorfinn begs him for stories of combat and conquest, Thors goes quiet. He doesn't want this life for his son. He spent his entire second existence trying to bury that world. But the world has a cruel habit of finding the people who run hardest from it. One day, a ship arrives on the shore. Old comrades. The war Thors abandoned is calling him back, and this is not a polite request. There's a threat sitting under every word. Refuse to come, and his family, his whole village, pays for it. Thors does the math in an instant. He has no real choice. He agrees to go, telling himself he'll settle this and come home alive. And here is where the story plants its first quiet seed of heartbreak. Thorfinn, desperate to see the wider world and desperate to be near the father he idolizes, sneaks aboard the longship. He stows away in the dark among the supplies and the rope. By the time they find him, they're already too far out at sea to turn back. So the boy who dreamed of adventure gets exactly what he wished for, word for word. He's going to war. With his father. And he could not be happier about it. Those first days out on the water are the last truly good ones of his life. And he has no idea. He's cold, he's seasick, and he has never been happier. He gets to watch his father up close, the quiet giant the whole village leans on. And out here something old shows through the farmer. The other hardened men defer to Thors without being asked. There's a calm in him that nothing seems able to rattle. Thorfinn drinks all of it in. For once, the father he loves looks exactly like the hero he always swore he was. He thinks this is the beginning of his adventure. It's really the end of the only happy part of his life. Before we get to that war, there's one more person you have to meet. Leif, a wandering explorer, an old friend of the family, a man stuffed full of impossible stories that everyone smiles at and nobody believes. And Leif tells young Thorfinn about a place he swears he saw with his own two eyes. A land far across the western sea. Warm, green, endless and open. No fighting there. No slavery. No kings hacking each other apart over scraps of frozen dirt. He calls it Vinland. To the village, it's a drunkard's fairy tale. But to Thorfinn, that one word lodges somewhere deep and it stays there. Vinland. A place without war. Hold on to that word, because this story is about to bury it under years of blood, and then, much later, quietly dig it back up. Out on the open water, Thors and his small group are ambushed. And here's the gut punch. The call to war was never real. It was a trap from the very start. set up by men who wanted the legendary Troll of Jom dead, arranged by a cold, smiling schemer who saw a profit in betrayal. The enemy ships slide out of the fog on every side, and the man leading the attackers is about to become the center of Thorfinn's entire universe. His name is Askeladd. Askeladd is a mercenary captain, clever, charming, ruthless, and completely without mercy when mercy doesn't pay. He commands a band of hardened killers, and he reads people the way the rest of us read the weather. He looks at Thors across the water, and he sees what everyone sees. A legend. A monster. Possibly the single greatest fighter he will ever face in his life. And part of him, the part that loves a real challenge, can't wait. What follows isn't really a battle. It's a demonstration. Thors, alone, holds off an entire warband. At first he fights without even drawing a real weapon. He disarms men, hurls them bodily into the freezing sea, knocks them out cold, and refuses to kill a single one of them. Because even cornered, even hopelessly outnumbered, he will not become the thing he spent his whole life escaping. He fights to protect, not to destroy. And for one impossible stretch, it actually looks like raw, unbelievable skill might be enough to get everyone home. And his son watches. Thorfinn watches his father stand against an army like a wall the sea can't break. In that moment, Thors is everything the boy ever dreamed of. Unbeatable. Untouchable. A hero out of the firelit stories. Askeladd sees the exact same thing the boy sees. And he understands, with a cold and sinking certainty, what it means. He's fought killers his entire life, and he knows he cannot beat this man in a straight fight. Nobody in his band can. Thors is simply on another level, a force of nature wearing a farmer's face. So Askeladd does what survivors do when raw strength isn't enough. He stops thinking about honor. He starts hunting for the single crack in a perfect man. And he finds it almost instantly. Because a man like Thors only has one true weakness in the entire world. And that weakness is standing right there on the deck, watching with shining eyes. Then they take his son. An archer puts an arrow on the string and points it straight at Thorfinn. And Askeladd offers the trade that every father in the world already knows the answer to. Surrender. Stand down completely, and the boy lives. Thors doesn't hesitate for even a heartbeat. He lowers his guard, sets down everything, offers his own life in exchange. And in that open, undefended moment, the arrows come. Thorfinn watches his father die. He watches the strongest man he has ever known choose to be killed, calmly, for his sake. And the last words Thors gives his boy are the exact words Thorfinn will spend the entire rest of this story failing to understand. That a true warrior needs no sword. That you have no enemies. That there is nobody in this world it is truly okay to hurt. He says it like he's handing his son the one thing that actually matters. And then he's gone. Swallowed by the cold gray sea, leaving only ripples where a hero used to be. And something inside Thorfinn snaps and reforms into something harder and colder. He snatches up a knife and throws himself at Askeladd in a blind, shrieking rage. He's a child. He has no chance at all. Askeladd swats him aside almost gently, half amused, half genuinely impressed by the sheer fury packed into such a small body. But the boy doesn't stop coming. He gets up. He attacks again. And again. And right there, in the blood and the salt water, the shape of the next several years of his life locks permanently into place. He has lost his father, his home, his future, and the warm green dream of Vinland, all in a single afternoon on the water. And the only thing he has left to grip is hate. One single, burning name. He will kill Askeladd. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know when. But that vow becomes the floor under his feet, the only solid thing in a world that just dissolved into nothing beneath him. So he does the unthinkable. He attaches himself to the very band that murdered his father. Not as a friend, not as a soldier, as a hunting dog, fed and used, waiting for the day he can finally turn and bite the hand that holds the leash. And someone tries to stop him. Leif, the old explorer, comes looking for the boy and begs him to come home. Back to Iceland. Back to his mother and his sister. Back to that bright, peaceful land Leif once promised him, waiting across the sea. Everyone who loves Thorfinn is still out there on that island, still hoping. But the boy says no. He turns his back on all of it, on Vinland, on family, on any future that isn't built around a dead man's name. He chooses the knife. He chooses the long, cold road. And Leif has to sail home alone and tell a mother that her son walked willingly into the dark. What he can't see yet, what he's far too young and too wounded to see, is that the second he chose hate over that green land across the sea, he started dying too, just slower. And what that slow death does to him over the next few years is where this story really begins to hurt. We'll see exactly what he becomes in the next part. Real quick, if this story's got you, drop a like and a comment.